What's going on, everyone? So Maxwell Lewis is kind of that anomaly for the Lakers. He's a guy that could potentially see a real opportunity next season. It'll be his second year. Last year, he was a rookie, taken in the second round. He was the 40th pick. He was the guy that I was hoping the Lakers would have drafted. He was actually one of the guys that I spoke on for number 17. They ended up taking Jalen Hood-Schifino at number 17, and then later drafted Maxwell Lewis in the second round. He was a guy that I was really high on, young, athletic, very versatile kind of combo. He could play both the 2 through 4 really in certain situations. But you're seeing especially like teams like Dallas and Minnesota and even Boston and teams like the Indiana Pacers all have these athletic, sizable, versatile, lengthy forwards. And I thought that Maxwell Lewis is a guy with his size, with his length, with his athleticism, could really make an impact later on down the road. I didn't expect him to do anything this in his rookie season. I didn't even think he'd play, which he really didn't. I mean, he played in like garbage time and stuff, but for the most part, he really didn't play. The only thing we really have to go on was what he did in the G League, which, can give you some clues, can give you some insight, which he was very good. He was very solid in the G League, but you don't really know until it translates to the NBA, right? It's one thing, you see guys all the time will put up 30 in the G League, and then they end up coming to the NBA and they don't really do much. But, Maxwell Lewis is a guy, gave you basically 15 points. He averaged 14.6 points in the G League, 4.7 rebounds, and 2 assists. If he could become something like that and then just be locked down defensively, hyper athlete, versatile, I think that there is a lot of potential for him to get some real opportunity. Now, I'm not expecting him to come in this upcoming season and play 40 minutes a game or anything crazy like that, but I do think he's a guy that could potentially, take some strides. It'll ultimately come down, in my opinion, to the 3-point shooting. Like, what does he look like shooting the 3 ball? Can he do it with a level of consistency? If he can, then I think he'll be in a good position to potentially get some quality minutes, right? He shot 36% from 3-point range in the 2023-2024 season in the G League. If he could even just shoot that, but be really bought in and locked down on the defensive side, because that's essentially league average in the NBA. So if he could just, league average, second year, coming off the bench, playing 10 to 15 minutes a game, I don't hate the idea of getting him some opportunity. Because more likely than not, what's going to happen, the Lakers are going to go, they're going to trade for, a Trae Young or Donovan Mitchell or whomever, right? They're going to go DeJounte Murray. They're going to go try to go get that guy for now and the future. And so they're pretty much just going to be vet minimums and, trying to get some sneaky signings that could maybe translate into, overplaying their production. Well, Maxwell Lewis is one of the guys that's going to be on the roster, right? And unless he is included in that trade, but he's a guy that I'd like to keep. Yeah, Jalen Hood-Schifino, I think, will more likely than not be the guy that ends up getting shipped out. Maxwell Lewis is the typical prototype for what you want in today's NBA. 6'7", 6'8", good length, versatile, athletic. I was really high on him coming out of Pepperdine, right? Like, you saw him take strides in that final year at Pepperdine and really evolve into just this scorer, right? He was more the defensive guy, right? And kind of like what you wanted in that prototype of like the 3-and-D. And then that final year, he kind of embraced, and they kind of passed the torch to him, and he kind of became the primary scoring option. His defense regressed a little bit, but that should be expected when you go from like, hey, I now need to average 20 plus a game. Where, in college it's very different than the NBA as he grows and progresses. Now, I'm not saying he's ever going to become a superstar or anything like that, but I do think he's a guy that has a lot of the tools and potential to be just, at worst, can he be a legit 3-and-D standard guy, right? Can he be a guy that can defend multiple positions and knock down the 3 ball with some regularity, right? He's not going to be asked to have some hefty scoring load for the Lakers. He's going to be asked to do exactly what I keep reiterating, which is play defense, knock down the open shot. And if he can do that, I mean, he could definitely carve out a role. But the reason I'm even bringing up Maxwell Lewis, outside of like, hey, it's good to talk about him, right? He is a Laker, and he is kind of like a guy that becomes an afterthought in a lot of ways. But he was recently working out with Spencer Dinwiddie, working out with the shooting coach. So again, trying to improve his game, trying to improve his craft, which I love to see, right? We're not even technically in the off season yet. I mean, you are for the Lakers, but it's like the NBA season isn't even officially over. And you'll see a lot of guys kind of take this time off before they have to start prepping and getting ready. I love seeing, a young, hungry kid, 21 years old, coming in and just working his tail off, trying to get his shots, right? Because I'm sure he wants to play. I'm sure he doesn't want to be in the G League forever. I'm sure he doesn't want to, have to ride the pine and only play garbage minutes. I'm sure he'd like to play a real role. And the Lakers might actually have something in Maxwell Lewis, and both Maxes, really. I mean, Maxwell Lewis and Max Christie are two guys that they could be your 2 and your 3 for the foreseeable future. Both of them are incredibly young with a ton of upside, a ton of potential. Right? Both guys can be defensive players and are known as defensive guys coming in. Both guys can score the basketball, make plays for themselves. Both guys have athleticism. Right? Both guys have a lot of things that you want in, your roster build. And I just think Maxwell Lewis, can he take some of those strides from year 1 to year 2? Like we saw Max Christie really take huge strides year 1 and year 2. And really it was like, it started in Summer League, right? Because Max Christie played Summer League and it was just like, oh, he's just better than everybody, right? I mean, Max Christie looked like an NBA vet out there. Like it was not even fair at times. I mean, he was literally getting everything he wanted, whenever he wanted, however he wanted. Like it was very impressive. And it was like, oh man, maybe he could get some real minutes, maybe get some real role. Then the Lakers went and got all the pieces that they got. So you knew, like Jalen Uchafino, like I know a lot of people look at Jalen Uchafino and they're like, oh, he's a bust, he's this, he's that, the other. I don't really think so. I just think none of these guys were ever going to get the opportunity because the Lakers are in win now mode, and they went and got a bunch of guys in the offseason, right? They retained, Reeves and Rui and Vando and all these guys. They were always going to be the priority. And then they went and got, Gabe Vincent and Christian Wood and, they Torian Prince and all this stuff, right? Like the young guys were more likely than not never going to get the chance, and especially with Darvin Ham. So it wasn't something, I don't know how to gauge any of these guys. We only have like what they looked like in the G League and college stuff. And, Jalen Uchafino was dominating in the G League. So that's a good sign that maybe that could translate. Again, it doesn't always translate, but at least it's a good sign that, Maxwell Lewis and like Jalen Uchafino, like these two guys looked like they looked like they didn't belong in the G League. They looked like they were better than most of the guys in the G League. So if they can translate and take that leap and that step into the NBA, see, again, Jalen Uchafino, I think, will end up getting traded. But Maxwell Lewis and Max Christie are the two guys that I'm incredibly excited for. Like, genuinely. And he's a guy that I think, again, I'm not expecting him to come in and get 30 minutes a game. If that's the case, that means two things happen. That means either one, he's been that good that you have to do that, which that would be best case. If he comes in and he's like, locked down defensively and shooting 38% from 3 or something like that, then yeah, you probably got to play him, 20 plus minutes a game. The other side of that is that we're probably incredibly thin or in trouble if he's playing 25 to 30 minutes a game, right? Like that's not good. But hopefully it's the positive route. Hopefully it's like, man, he's been so good. Like you got to get him minutes. But to me, can he just be a guy off the bench, right? Like, again, just use an example. Let's say we get DeJounte Murray, right? Let's say you go DeJounte. Let's say you pick up also like a Royce O'Neal, right? So let's say you go like DeJounte Murray, Royce O'Neal, Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. It's a solid starting five. I think that's starting five that can contend with anybody and play with anybody. Got good versatility, good defense, good scoring, all that stuff, right? Got some shooting. Okay, cool. Right, well, how does the bench round out? Like, let's say we go get Valanciunas. Okay, cool. right? So then you have, like, say, Gabe Vincent, Max Christie, Christian Wood, and Valanciunas. It's like, okay, well, who's going to play that three? Are you going to go with Cam Reddish? Are you going to go with, is Taurean Prince going to stick around? Let's say Taurean Prince doesn't, right? Okay, well then, like, what do you do? How do you go? Like, I don't hate the idea of Maxwell Lewis stepping in and playing that role, right? Like, I don't mind at least taking a shot and seeing what he's got. Maybe even split minutes with him and Cam Reddish, because I think Cam Reddish will stick around, just because I don't think he's going to have like a huge influx of offers. So, Maxwell Lewis, slide him at the three along with Cam Reddish and kind of let them split minutes at times, and see what the kids got, right? I don't hate the idea of like a Gabe Vincent, Max Christie, Maxwell Lewis, Christian Wood, and like a Valanciunas or Andre Drummond or whomever, right? Like, I think that's a well-balanced, youthful, versatile, defensive-minded bench that has a couple, Max Christie, can he take some strides on the offensive side? Can Maxwell Lewis take some strides on the offensive side? I don't hate that as a bench, and I do think Maxwell Lewis can really, I think he really shine. And again, I think he needs to do what Rui did, right? Like, just, I love that he's working with Spencer Dinwiddie. He's working with the shooting coach and all that stuff. If I'm him, I'm seeing like, hey, Braun, can I be your understudy like Rui was last year? Right? Can I, because you might as well use him while you have him. Right? Glue yourself to LeBron. Like, hey, man, I just want to do the workouts that you're doing. I just want to do the drills and things that you're doing. Like, you don't even have to talk to me. I'll just watch what you're doing and just copy it. Right? Like, take the opportunity, because LeBron's only going to be here for so long. And, he's a guy that I think could be your starting small forward at some point, right? I do think that that's the idea, right? That Max Christie eventually is your starting two. Maxwell Lewis is eventually your starting three. And hopefully it's not because we're terrible and we're tanking, and hopefully it's because they're good enough to do that, right? Hopefully at some point you don't have to worry about like, oh man, how are we going to round out our roster? Hopefully 2 years from now our starting five is something like, a DeJounte Murray, Max Christie, Maxwell Lewis, Anthony Davis, and Colin Castleton or something. And it's not like we're just like this bad tanking team that, is past their heyday. No, hopefully it's like, no, like we're competing and contending for championships because, yeah, we have Anthony Davis. Yeah, we have DeJounte Murray, but Max Christie is, a top two guard. Maxwell Lewis is a legit, 3-and-D style guy. And then, Colin Castleton or whomever is a legit starting center in this league. And it's like, oh no, we got one of the best starting fives in the league. Right? That's the idea. That's the goal. That's the hope. And, I think the only way you're going to find out is giving these guys some opportunity. So give them some. I'm not saying, break the bank and just have them basically have to handle everything. No, but you gotta at least give them some opportunity, some shine. Let's see what they got. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts on Maxwell Lewis? Do you like him? Do you not? Do you think that he has potential to make some strides? Do you think the Lakers ultimately end up trading him? What do you think? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.